Hi. It's Mrs. Stitches or Sheila. Hi, everybody. Today's date is October 26th, 2025. I'm going to make this a short one because once again, I'm off to go somewhere. Today, I am going to Digby. They're having, it's like paint like mod. And so you're going to like one of those painting sessions where you're all sit and paint. It's to celebrate however many years of Maud Lewis. And so I signed up for it. It was free and I've never tried the group painting thing, so it should be fun. So I have to leave in an hour, so not super big rush, but slept super well last night. First time I didn't have to get up at 5:30. That was great. Okay, so I have my Advent. I have only one whip to show you. And I have my Gaelic lesson of the day, and I have my past finish. So let's start off with the Gaelic lesson. Is it here? Yeah. And so this, I picked this up. I picked up a whole bunch of decorations at Michael's last year after Halloween. So they're 70% off. And I think it was regularly, well, I don't even know how much, but regularly $20. So it ended up only being $6 or something like that. And it's kind of cute. And so the Gaelic is for a coffin. So this is coffin shaped. And it is Kistulaya for a coffin. Kistulaya. Okay. My past finish, which I might just use the coffin shape to show you. Yeah, that'll work. Almost. Was another, actually, you know what, I'm not going to use this one. I'll go do this one I'll do this tomorrow, just because the lighting is not going to show very well, so I'll use a smaller one. So this, it was out of Just Cross Stitch magazine last year, or some other year, maybe a couple of years back, the Broomstick Brigade. And that was when I was trying to stitch a whole bunch. I think it was last year I tried to, or the year before. Isn't that cute? So I don't know who the designer is. I'd have to dig up the magazine, and I haven't done that. So, okay, I'm fighting the light again. Let's do my Advent. I haven't done that yet. So day 26, it's a big one. I should have done that right away. Let's see what it is. Oh, I couldn't guess. It's a bag. Wow. Oh, wow. So it has some room. Those would work well for, so it has room for something to be put in here. I don't think bobbins will fit in there, but the ones that are, what were they called? The bow, anyway, stitch bows, they would fit in there. There's a couple, and then there's a felt for your orts, and then there's like little spots there too. Oh, that's a cute little bag. That was a complete surprise. I'll put that over there. Okay, so all that I worked on, what was yesterday? Did we go anywhere yesterday? I don't think we did, but the day did disappear on me. All I worked on was the Glendon Place Sleepy Hollow. And so I think before I showed you, I was in the middle of finishing off the row of headstones right there. So I'm going to pop it out of the Q-snap because I finished that and then I had more to do. I'm not going to fully take it out. I'll just take it out because I don't have a board. Okay, so I finished off these headstones here, these 3 headstones. Everything was matching up pretty good. I did have a board here. The darn sun. Don't want to complain about it because it's a good thing to have sun. It's a good problem to have, but the darn sun, it's my own fault for not setting up earlier or later. Okay, so this was what I finished off. And I found if I actually hold back further away, it's better. And then I started working over here on his cape. And the interesting thing about his cape is at the very end, there's some shiny stitches. And they're actually two different colors of Krynic, which I don't have. Oh, that don't work any better. And so I just picked out of my stash. I had this one color, which was a Krynic, and then the other color is a diamant, but it was very gold and it didn't look right. So then I just stitched over top with just a color, one of the colors out of the Ghostly Heights, and it worked out really well. It actually turned out really cool. So I have more to do still, but I like the effect. So I think that worked out really well. So I'm going to finish his coat. Then I might start on the moon because I think the moon is in between here. Then I'll do the head, and then I'm going to carry on with the moon. So the moon is pretty big, so I have to be aware of that. I will do his tail, the tail too, and then I'll have the moon in between. So I got to really outline those so I can know where to put the moon. But there's a few mistakes in here, but for all intents and purposes, it doesn't matter because there's empty space between his coat and then the start of the border. Like think about 4 or 5 stitches and I'm only 1 stitch off somehow, somewhere, some way. So there you go. So that's pretty cool. It's coming along great. I'm still contemplating what I'm going to do for my 24 hours. I think I want to work on few projects and put in lots of hours on them. So I was thinking like 4 projects in 6 hours or 6 projects in 4 hours, something to that effect. So I'm just trying to roll around in my head what I really want to work on. What would I really like to, what do I have a hankering to stitch? So yeah, so I'm going off to Maud Lewis Paint Like Maud, and I will have that to show you tomorrow. What else? I don't know what else. That's all I can think of right now. Story-wise, some a viewer did ask what my husband did for work. He used to be an engineer, and he worked for a city, and was just a city engineer. He did live in some unique places. He did move around. He did live up north in Inuvik, so that was pretty cool. We hope to one day actually travel up there so he can show me the north. We did a tiny bit of north. We did a road trip up to just crossing the border to the Yukon in BC, and that was nice. It was neat to see that was in the middle of summer, so it wasn't getting dark until midnight or 1, and then it got light early. There were a few bugs, but it'd be neat to explore more of our country for sure. What else? Another viewer told me that she used to work as an observer on land-based fisheries observer. I used to be a fisheries observer. This is way back on the West Coast in the Pacific. Before I worked with the government, it was contracted out to a biological survey company, and we would, there were foreign vessels that fished Canadian waters. They had the big factory vessels, and so sometimes they would have Canadian fishing boats catch, it was hake, and there's not a market of hake in Canada. It's used in Europe for, it's kind of a trash fish, but they'll use it for like fish and chips and like frozen fish fingers and things like that. You have to process it fast because it has a parasite in the flesh called Cadoa, which once the fish is dead, the parasite then releases a proteolytic enzyme that causes the flesh to dissolve. And so it's really important to process it and freeze it as quickly as you can. So the Canadian fishing boats don't have factory vessels, but the European, or they were Polish, Russian, Japanese, there may have been some others, but those are the only ones I remember, did. And so then when they fished our waters, they had to, as a trade, be able to let the Canadians also fish, and they would transfer their net of fish onto the factory vessel, and then we would account how much there is, and they get paid for that. So obviously you needed someone there to mediate, because Canadians would say, well, I just transferred 40 tons. And then the Russians would say, no, you only transferred 20 tons. And really it was 30 tons. So, so we were there, 3 parts. We were there to make sure they didn't break any regulations or rules, such as not fishing in the proper zones, dumping, overfishing, targeting the wrong fish, things like that. And then we were also there to mediate, to measure the catch that was transferred, the cotton that was transferred, so that we were sort of the voice of reason. This is what it really was. We were there to check on the efficiency of their machinery, to make sure that collect biological data, which was sort of my key, or my niche, was to collect the biological data. So if there were certain numbers of fish, we'd have to do some samples and things like that. So it was I did it just for one summer. My brother did it for a couple summers, I think, but I did it for one summer. It was fascinating. It was a really interesting experience. It was hard. I was only 20 something, and you're really in a foreign environment. You're on a foreign vessel. So I was on Polish vessels, and the feeling of isolation when people can't understand what you say is, I mean, they spoke some English, but in general, they're all speaking Polish or yeah, around you. And you feel very isolated, especially being a young female on a boat of all men. So it was quite an eye opener for a young woman. There was also the eye opener of their different attitudes. They are just have a different background. And I was specifically told that women are put on earth to make babies, not to be working. And so it's just, it was a bit of an eye opener for a North American young girl to be in that situation. But it was a real learning experience. It was, it was part of my past. So, it's a little snippet of my past. And now I shall let you go. I'm going to put my stuff away and get ready to go myself. I still have about 20 minutes. And we'll see you tomorrow, and I will be showing you whatever I do. Hopefully it turns out well. I'm not a painter. My family has got lots of painters in them, but I'm not a painter. My brother and my nephew and my brother's wife are all fantastic artists. They're amazing. I have some work of my brother's. I have cards from my sister-in-law. I always thought her work would be great as cross stitch. And then my nephew has some amazing stuff too. So they're a very artistic family. Anyways, I shall let you go. I will see you tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Bye.